So the Mario movie, as my thoughts on it, it is a movie that I like, but I don't love. Like, it is very much, it's an Illumination movie. It's a kid's movie. It's basic Nintendo, 5 or 7 basic plots. Hero saves the princess from the dragon. Admittedly, the princess is Luigi, but semantics. It's a basic movie. I know some people don't like that, and this movie does not do well with critics. I think it's got, like a 48 on Rotten Tomatoes. It's a fine movie. If you show it to your kids, they will have a good time. But it doesn't reach the highs of most other movies. Anything Pixar, anything Sony, almost anything DreamWorks does are all better than this. The Lego movie is better than this. There are tons of other movies that kind of do what the Mario movie is doing, but they do it better. There are, of course, things that do it worse. Ready Player One, for example, does something kind of similar with all the references in the pop culture, but they definitely do it worse. And yeah, so I enjoy the movie. It's nothing revolutionary, but it's fun. My biggest worry with the Galaxy movie is that it's just going to be the same thing. They're literally just going to do the same movie again, but now they've got like so many more references, and there's just so much shit going on, and that worries me, but we'll see. So the movie starts off with, Bowser. He gets our MacGuffin, the Power Star. He fights the penguins. You had to have something cute in there. The penguin scene's whatever. At least it establishes Bowser as a threat. I think Jack Black as Bowser is fantastic. The casting in this movie is very weird. I do not think it's bad casting, with like one exception. But yeah, Jack Black just does fantastic as Bowser. He puts his all into it because he loves this movie. From there, we get introduced to the Mario Bros. They do their little commercial, which is fun. I love the reference to the Super Mario Brothers Super Show. It's very clear that there's a lot of love put into this movie. And, we see that very early on. We get the Punch-Out Pizzeria with a bunch of Punch-Out references. We have Spike from the Wrecking Crew. We have the Game & Watch Moving Company. The Balloon Fight Car Wash. As Mario and Luigi go off to their first job, they recreate 1-1 in Brooklyn. And, you get like Castle Burger at the end. That's a lot of fun. Luigi's ringtone is the GameCube sound. The startup sound. There are so many references in here. The thing I will say is references do not make a good movie. If references made a good movie, Ready Player One would be the greatest movie of all time. Admittedly, the book is much worse than the movie, but it's still not a great movie. But you get clearly Nintendo loves itself, and this shows off. When you get to the house with the dog and they're fixing the plumbing, there's Pikmin, Duck Hunt. There's so many references. But it's a lot of like blink and you'll miss it stuff. It's not like the movie stops and is like, hey, look over there. It's the Duck Hunt dog. No, it's in the background. If you notice it, cool. If you don't, whatever. Speaking of the dog thing, I've never really cared for the dog scene, where it attacks them and it gets stuck in the shower and then it escapes. I've never actually really found that scene that funny. I actually think the movie starts off kind of slow with, the whole Punch-Out Pizzeria. We get to go see Mario's family. I do like Mario's family. I like the mom and dad. Because there's a thing with Americans and British people where, like, the moment you turn 18, you're, like, kicked out of the house and expected to go make it on your own. That's a uniquely British and American thing. And in, like, Italian, in Hispanic, and, I'm going to use Muslim as my third example. They don't, families will stick together for potentially generations. So yeah, Mario's still living with his parents in his mid-20s, his uncles, his aunts, his grandfather, all living in the same house. It's pretty standard stuff. But I do like Mario's dad. We see this opening scene with Mario's dad is Mario's refusal to the call. You know, Mario wants to go out, make it on his own, so he leaves the wrecking crew, and his family's like, oh, not only are you you're failing on your own, but you're taking your brother down with you. Because while I say this is, basic plot, hero, princess, dragon, this is also the hero's journey. This is maybe one of the most basic hero's journeys we've gotten since, like, Star Wars. Yeah, this is Mario's refusal to the call that, his dad thinks he's a failure. But then they see on the news, oh, someone's got to save Brooklyn. And he's like, okay, Luigi, let's go save Brooklyn. They go down, they find the pipes. Mario and Luigi get separated. I do kind of wish they weren't. I hope that the second movie fixes that. And it seems like they are, that Mario, Luigi, and Yoshi are going to be together. Meanwhile, Toad and Peach are off on their quest. But basically, there's been in the 21st century, there's been a thing of like, hey, we need less damsels in distress in video games. And just in media in general. For as much as, Jeffrey Epstein made people hate Anita Sarkeesian, she was right. And Peach in this movie shows that. The fact that we can play as Peach and Rosalina in this game. The fact that in Mario Wonder you can play as Peach, Rosalina, Daisy, and Toadette. We've made strides. If Peach is never a damsel in distress again, that would be a good thing. But Luigi being a damsel in distress, it's fine. You get some okay scenes out of it. But yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, okay, we've done it, now we don't gotta do it again. Because Luigi ends up in the Darklands. Surprisingly, he doesn't come across any booze. Like, it's this creepy area, but he only comes across dry bones and Shy Guys. I don't know, that's kind of weird. Meanwhile, Mario ends up in the Mushroom Kingdom. He meets Toad. I will say, aesthetically with this movie, I would argue the Super Mario Bros. Movie, well, yes, it's based on Super Mario Bros., and it takes elements from every Mario game. The games that it takes the most influence from are the ones we are currently playing. Super Mario 3D World. I would say the movie most resembles 3D World. Of course, it also takes a lot from Odyssey. I would argue Odyssey is the second most important one for just like the visual aesthetic. And, like, the plot, like, they rip the plot from Odyssey. Like, if we get an Odyssey movie, they're going to have to do a completely different plot. I hate this one. This is the one, I can never get this level right. This is where we're going to be stuck. That one right there. But yes, I do like the look of the Mushroom Kingdom. The Peach's Castle looks like Peach's Castle from, 64, from Odyssey. It's exactly how you picture it. The actual, like, Toad Town looks like Toad Town, but it looks like this game. It uses the clear pipes. It uses the platforms from this game. 3D World was very much like a major influence on the movie. Not plot-wise, but like everything else. Eventually, they find Peach. Peach's design in this movie has always felt a little weird. Like, yeah, it's Peach, but it looks a little off. Like, okay, if I had to explain it, it's Peach in the games looks like a doll, and in the movie, she looks a little bit more human, which is definitely the right move to make, but it just looks a little off. But other than that, I'm fine with the changes they make to Peach. She's not really a damsel in distress anymore. And I definitely feel like that is the right move to make. We get, from there, we get this training montage of Mario, oh, he hates mushrooms, but he keeps having to eat the mushrooms. Again, they use the donut blocks from this game. I don't think we've ever seen, like, mechanized piranha plants before. But it takes a lot of influence from this one. After Mario, spends a whole day and night failing, Peach does it on her first try. And it's like, oh yeah, you were always able to get that on your first try. And I've seen some people be like, oh, this is just like Raylo using a lightsaber. Or, She-Hulk being like, oh, I know how to master my anger. No, it's not. She literally explains in the movie that she grew up here. Of course she'd get it on her first try. I'm so fucking over incel chud gamer bros, man. They're so fucking annoying. And their entire worldview was shaped by Jeffrey Epstein. Because the Mario movie is basically a fish out of water story. Mario, in the Mushroom Kingdom is a fish out of water. He's just a stranger in a strange land. From there, we find out about Bowser wanting to marry Peach. We get the... Is this where do we get the... Maybe that's a little later down. Yeah, we get Bowser wants to marry Peach or else he'll destroy the Mushroom Kingdom. Mario, Peach, and Toad decide to go out on an adventure together. Because I very much get the impressions that most Toads are like weak cowards. Like they talk a big talk, but they're really not, except for, Keegan-Michael Key Toad, who is like the one who can actually put up. From there, we get the different kingdom montage. Again, they take from Odyssey. We get the Desert Kingdom, whose name is... I don't remember. We get Bob on Battlefield. We get World 2-1, which is the bridge with the Cheep Cheeps. We get Yoshi's Island. It's all really good. It's all fun. I love the music. I know we'll talk about the licensed music in a minute, but the actual video game music is fantastic. It actually surprises me that Nintendo, on their Nintendo Music app, has never made a playlist of the songs from the Mario movie. Not like the licensed stuff, not Take On Me or Mr. Brightside. But just give me this is Gusty Gardens Galaxy. This is, Yoshi's music. This is, World 2-1. This is World 1-2. This is World 1-1. Give me all that shit. Then we get the Peaches song. The Peaches song is not actually a good song. It's funny. It's cute. But, it's not actually that good. It's super fucking basic. It's just kind of funny. I'm Just Ken from the Barbie movie basically does the same thing and does it way better. And that's not even the best song in that movie either. Of course, Bowser is jealous of Mario. Eventually, this leads us to the scene with Luigi, where I love the line of, do princesses find Mario attractive? They do if they have good taste. That's one of my favorite lines in the movie. I find that so funny. We get the campfire scene, which this is Peach telling her backstory. It looks like in this new one, Peach and Rosalina are gonna be related, probably sisters. I think that makes sense. That always is kind of me. Again, there's the old game theory that Luigi's the dad, which is kind of dumb, but it's going to be something. We also get the line of, it's a whole big world out there with a bunch of galaxies. I know some people find that line awkward. I think it's fine. Also, someone pointed this out with the new movie coming out. In the original Mario Bros. Movie, Mario never uses the fire flower. The most iconic Mario power-up, besides for maybe the mushroom, Mario never uses it. Peach uses it. Donkey Kong uses it for the first time ever. But Mario doesn't use the fire flower. And him using it for the first time is in the Galaxy movie, seemingly. That's interesting. I'd never noticed that before. From there, we also get Luma Lee at some point. This is the nihilistic Luma, who's life is just suffering and pain. It's cute. I understand why people love that joke. It's a really fun joke, the dark visuals with the cute character design. If you told me the whole reason they decided to do Galaxy second, instead of doing Super Mario World, was because of Luma Lee, I would not be surprised. Because it's just a really cute character. I understand it. From there, they arrive at the Donkey Kong Kingdom. This is where we get the licensed Take On Me. I'll be honest, would I prefer this movie not to have licensed music? Yes, probably. But also, I'm okay. It's Illumination. You have to make compromises. And at least all the songs they picked, I do like. Sure, is this the 30th movie to use Holding Out for a Hero? Definitely. But guess what? I like Holding Out for a Hero. fucking sue me. Sure, it'll never be as good as Shrek 2, but I don't know. And when the Galaxy movie uses, licensed music as well, I will not at all be surprised. Because that is the one, I shit on, Illumination, Despicable Me, the Minions movie. I will always give the Minions movie the fact that it has a great soundtrack. Like, Illuminations puts a lot of licensed music in their movies, but they pick really good songs. But other than that, I do like the Jungle Kingdom. I like how the entire kingdom is built around carts. That's fun. From there, Mario fights Donkey Kong at the request of the king, Cranky Kong. I mentioned earlier there's only one bad casting choice. That's Fred Armisen. It's not that he's a bad actor or anything. He just doesn't sound like what I expect Cranky Kong to sound like. He does... the more I hear it, the more I get used to it. But he just doesn't sound like Cranky Kong to me. But, with that, you have Seth Rogen as Donkey Kong. He does not do a voice. The only time Seth Rogen has ever done a voice is the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie, Mutant Mayhem. Other than that, he does not do voices. But honestly, as the voice of Donkey Kong, I think he's fine. I've gotten used to it. I like his energy. I really like that Donkey Kong fucking hates Mario. Like, if we ever get a Mario/Sonic crossover, this is how I want Mario and Sonic to act towards each other. Where they just kind of fucking hate each other. And, like, Donkey Kong tries to kill Mario multiple times. I do like that. The whole arena fight is fun. The mini mushroom, the cat suit, all that stuff is good. How powerful the cat suit is, because of course it would be. Cats are one of the top predators on the planet. And also the arena being a reference to, the original Donkey Kong arcade with the red girders, Diddy, Dixie, and I think Chunky show up. That's fun. But Mario wins. From there, they go and they make carts. I did have the thought, the cart scene is very much, hey, this is just Mario Kart 8. Is that scene going to feel outdated in a few years? Because, well, yes, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe was the Mario Kart game for, 15 years. It's not the Mario Kart game anymore. Is that scene going to feel a little old in a few years? Or is it just, them taking from the vibe of things? So it'll always kind of just feel fine. I think that's possible. But from there, they go on to Rainbow Road. I like Rainbow Road. I think Rainbow Road's really cool. Another thing I do like about this movie that the games don't do, but the movie does. Oh, fuck. The thing that the games don't do, and this was reconfirmed recently, is how in Spider-Man comics, Peter Parker and Mary Jane are not allowed to be married anymore. They can date, but they can't marry each other. The same is kind of true for Mario and Peach. Mario and Peach can be friends. Peach can bake Mario a cake, give him a kiss. But Mario and Peach can never date. They're never allowed to be a couple. And that's just kind of dumb. But I like in the Mario movie that we do just straight up see Mario and Peach flirt. Mario's like, oh, come to Brooklyn, I'll buy you a turtle. That's cute. When we're transferring mediums, I like that we're given a little bit more freedom. Same thing with Spider-Man, MJ and Tom Holland's Peter Parker might end up together. They might actually get married, which I cannot say for the comics, because fuck Spider-Man comics. No wonder Marvel's a dying comics business, because they fucking suck. Rants aside, I do like them flirting. I think that's fun. Bowser's army shows up, and this is an excuse to do Mario Kart. We get bob-ombs, we get bananas, we get green shells, all that stuff. I like the anti-gravity stuff. The scene where, Peach turns it off to go save Toad is good. I do, however, agree that the line, now that's what I call princessing, is awful. What a terrible line. And then at the end of the scene, the blue shell, so fucking cool. Like, yes, because you see the guy before then, and he's got the blue shell and the wings. And then when it happens, it's like, yeah. Of course, Mario and Donkey Kong fall into Unagi. Again, another good reference that it'd be like if they ever did like a Luigi's Mansion movie or something. Like, you gotta put the piano in there somewheres. Sure, that's from 64, but it's fucking iconic. Peach and Toad make it back to the castle. This is where Bowser shows up asking for Peach's hand in marriage, which is very clear that they've like never talked before this. But again, we're borrowing the plot from Odyssey. Because this is the marriage is the plot of Odyssey. Like, I know Bowser has kidnapped Peach for like 40 years now. I think the first time they've actually ever mentioned a wedding was Odyssey. But we get the wedding. I like, again, you get King Boo. Not the good King Boo design, the bad one. You get King Babam. I like that they blow up King Babam. That's so fucking funny. We get the ice flower, which is hidden in Peach's bouquet. Mario and Donkey Kong escape Unagi with the barrel, and we get the barrel from Donkey Kong. And then we get a fight scene of them going through the city. Donkey Kong has the fire flower, Mario gets a mushroom, and then gets a Tanuki suit. It's a fun action set piece. It's really, it's like somebody playing the game. It's a really quick, simple action set piece. But it's a good action set piece. I do like it. I do think fondly of it. It's one of those more memorable moments. From there, they're able to save everybody. I like Mario and Luigi getting back together. And it's like, oh, remember, everything will be okay as long as we're together. That's a really good moment. Honestly, it's worth separating Mario and Luigi just for that moment. I also like Donkey Kong. He saves his dad, and then he's like, "Oh, son, celebrate! Make your pecs dance." And he's like, "Not right now, maybe later." That's another good moment. After that, Bowser, launches the bonsai bill. Mario stops it by hitting it in the eye, which makes him chase after it. That's weird. Also, I understand that him sending it into the warp pipe. It's like, oh, that's like a space gateway. But, like, what if he was never able to get home after that? Like, it's clear that, he wanted it gone and didn't really think things through, but it's just bad. Of course, this sucks everyone into Brooklyn. We get Mario and Luigi fight for the star. Mario gets his ass kicked, and he gets kicked into the pizza shop. And this is, his 11th hour crisis of faith. Because Mario, if we're talking the hero's journey, Mario, he kind of has a refusal to the call at the beginning, but at the end, he's got the elixir, and now he's returning changed. But he hasn't, this is not him, fully like disbelieving himself. We always knew he was going to get back up. It's just a question of how does he? I kind of wish it was less, oh, he sees the ad on the TV and that makes him get back up. I kind of wish it had been more, oh, Luigi comes in and is like, Mario, you can do anything. Again, as long as we're together. That would have been good. It is, I think as it currently fits in the movie, it's not actually a good scene. The scene right after, though, where Mario goes to face Bowser and Luigi saves him by blocking the fire with the manhole cover, is a fantastic scene. That moment is great. And then they get them the invincibility star. We've known that, I guess, Illumination originally wanted Mr. Brightside to play, but Nintendo was like, no. And that was the right move. Hearing a remix of the invincibility theme, it's so fucking gas. It hypes me up every time I hear it. Them just barreling through all the enemies, spinning around Bowser like in 64. It's just got so much energy. It is so good. I like, of course, you get the ending of them, using the mini mushroom on Bowser and putting him in the jar. That's fun. That's funny. There's a lot of good callbacks and setups at the climax here. They call Luigi brave. I like the dad, played by Charles Martinet, saying, these are my boys. That's great. That's a great line. Yes. Do I wish Charles Martinet had been Mario? Kind of. But the role he has as Mario, as both Jumpman and Mario's dad, I think he does a fantastic job as. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff that they set up in the climax that they pay off really well. Right? There's a scene of Mario jumping in slow-mo and then saying Mamma Mia. That comes back in the climax. The TV ad of them, who will save Brooklyn? That comes back in the climax. Early on in the bathroom scene, Luigi holds up a mirror, which, mirrors him holding up the manhole cover at the end. The mini mushroom, which is in the Donkey Kong fight, comes back. Of course, the whole buy you a turtle line. And then just making your dad proud. All of that is set up early on in the movie. Or, halfway through. And then gets paid off at the end. This movie... It's not like it's completely not understanding cinema. Like, it knows what it's doing. It's just very fucking basic. Of course, at the end, you find out Mario and Luigi are living in the Mushroom Kingdom. Mr. Brightside plays. We get the credits, which you get Gusty Garden's Galaxies. It's one of the greatest Mario tracks of all time. No shit, they use that. You get Luma Lee playing the saxophone. You get the tiny Bowser playing the Peaches song. Because, again, it's a funny joke, just not a good song. At least I think it's funny enough. And then the post-credit scene is Yoshi. Because we all thought, the next movie was going to be Super Mario World. And it's not. It's Galaxy. So yeah, the movie takes from everything. You've got a lot of references to the original Mario Bros. You got a lot of the aesthetics, things like the ice flower and the mini mushroom. Those come from the new Super Mario Bros. Game. The aesthetics are very heavily lifted from this game, 3D World. The enemies, the training course, the cat suit. The marriage plot comes from Super Mario Odyssey. Peach's castle from N64. The raccoon suit from Super Mario Bros. 3. Everything with the kart customization is taken from Mario Kart 8, with the one exception being Rainbow Road. The Rainbow Road is not like Mario Kart 8's Rainbow Road. But other than that, everything else is Mario Kart 8. And I do like that we get the DK crew. I like that we get the DK rap. That's a lot of fun. And so yeah, my overall thoughts, this is not a very complicated movie. It's basic, it's simple, it does exactly what it needs to do, and to its detriment, it doesn't do much more. It's a hero's journey. It's a hero saving a princess from a dragon. Miyamoto famously doesn't really care for plots. I would pull out the Kevin McDonald book, but, Nintendo, they don't really care about plots. Plots are a means to an end, an excuse to get you to the gameplay. And this movie very much inhabits that Nintendo vision because it's fucking fun. Nintendo values fun more than anything else. And this movie is fun. It's basic. It's a kid's movie. But it's fun. There's a lot of slapstick in it because it's a kid's movie. There are not many adult jokes. I am thankful there are no poop and fart jokes. That's something I would be worried about, but luckily there aren't any. Of course, it is definitely an Illumination movie. There's licensed music. It's very much appealing for the kids. It doesn't really play adult, but that's fine. I think this is the prettiest an Illumination movie has ever looked. I think this is also the most expensive Illumination movie, because Illumination is known for making movies on a budget. Prior to the Mario movie, their most expensive movie was like $85 million, which for CG animation, that's fucking cheap. The Mario movie, I think, had a budget of like $100 million, which it made $1 billion. Like, no, wow. Of course it's fucking Illumination. Again, the voice cast is weird, but I do think they are good. Like, they know what they're doing. We fucked this up. The only, my highlight is Jack Black. I think Jack Black, yes, he's Jack Black, but he also kind of doesn't sound like Jack Black. Like, this isn't like Kung Fu Panda. Like, he puts his heart and soul into it. I think he's a highlight. Fred Armisen is my one weak light. I think most of the cast is fine. Anya Taylor-Joy as Peach is good. Charlie Day is, I think, great as Luigi. Chris Pratt, the one we were all really worried about, was fine. Nothing amazing, but nothing terrible. Keegan-Michael Key's Toad isn't annoying, which is kind of all I can ask for. And yeah, most of the cast is fine. Seth Rogen's DK, I understand why people have problems. Personally, I don't care. It's Seth Rogen. You know, I'm kind of used to it. Because it's very clear that Nintendo kept Illumination on a tight leash. You know, they have, you know, kind of like how Disney is controlling of Mickey, Nintendo is controlling of Mario. And they care. There are a lot of references and whatnot. You know, there's a lot of love put into this movie. And I would say that's for better or worse. Again, it's not as bad as Ready Player One, but it's also, you know, like, I feel like the Sonic movies, at least the second and third one, are at least a little bit more subtle with things. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff. Again, and it's not all Mario stuff either. Pikmin, Duck Hunt, Game & Watch, Balloon Fight, Punch-Out, tons of other things. Because there's clearly just a lot of love for this movie. Be that, you know, Miyamoto being a producer, Chris Meledandri maybe cares. The people I do have to give a lot of credit to is the directors. Pierre Ludek and Fabian Pollock, they clearly cared. The co-directors, they're the ones who I give a lot of credit to. You know, despite Illumination and whatnot, and they probably got support from Nintendo, but it's clear they cared. They had a lot of love for the franchise, and it shows in the movie. Overall, I don't, you know, Rotten Tomatoes, how it works is if a movie has, you know, a 48%, all that means is that there is a 48% chance you're going to like that movie. It's not how good it is or how bad it is. It's just the percentage of chance that you're going to enjoy the movie. I think for this movie, 48% is very low. But also, I do kind of get it. I definitely would put it more closer to like the 70s. If I were to rank this, I'd probably give it, just being realistic. You know, this movie's been out for years now. I've seen it at least a dozen times. I would be realistic and give it like a 7. Like, yes, the Nintendo fanboy in me is like 10 out of 10 all the way. It's amazing. It's the best thing ever. The realist, the movie critic in me is like, nah, it's like closer to a 7. It's fucking basic. It's got its issues. But I've seen it over a dozen times. It's a fun watch. It is blessedly short. The movie comes in at like under an hour and a half. I think it's like an hour 28. That is so short. Oh my gosh. You can watch this movie 100 times and barely notice. It's quick, and that's a good thing. So yeah, I love it. I'm very excited for the Mario Galaxy movie. I understand how, even though I would have preferred Mario World, I understand how we got to Galaxy next. And I'm excited. I see it in, 3 days. So we will definitely be back next week to talk about it. And beyond.